Hello, welcome to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. We're back for another look ahead to what promises to be an excellent weekend's racing. Some great action in Britain, and of course, it's the Guineas weekend over in Ireland at the Curragh, so there should be plenty of very good quality action there. If you happen to be finding us for the first time here at YouTube, then join maybe the 7,500 other subscribers and just press the button just below this screen, the red button, and you'll get my tips for free every time that I post a bulletin. Well, I've got two for you this Saturday. One of them at Goodwood, the other one at York. Two really good fixtures. Last week, things didn't quite work out for us. We got the value as far as Mutter was concerned, but he wasn't quite good enough in the Group 1 lock-in stakes. After leading down to about a furlong and a half out, he just wasn't able to go with the Godolphin-trained winner, and a few others as well, for that matter. And of course, I'm sure you saw Chindit trying to take a lump out of modern games in what was a remarkable incident in the closing stages of the lock-ins last week. Our other runner ran a shocker. Unbelievable. Rathbone was his name. Ran a dreadful race at Thirsk. Really not sure why. He'd shaped really well the time before. He'd won at the track before. He'd won the race before. But for whatever reason, he got out of the wrong side of bed and didn't fancy it. Hopefully that won't be the case with the two that I have for you this weekend. What I can say with certainty is that, having shown a profit for April here at Sportsbet, we're guaranteed a profit as well for May, because we're nicely ahead coming to these final two selections. So that can't be bad from a free betting service. Right, I'm going to take you to the very first of my selections on Saturday. So Goodwood, the 205 is a 7 furlong 3-year-old's handicap. They're forecasting the ground good to firm in places, but I understand that the weather is pretty much set fair, although you can never tell in Britain, of course. So the ground's going to be fairly quick, and there are 13 runners. Now, the betting at the time of this recording on Friday morning indicates that Tafrige for William Haggas will be around 4-1, certainly overnight. He won a 6 furlong Yarmouth novice on good to soft in October. A solid third on his reappearance at Newbury over 7 furlongs, again in soft ground 5 weeks ago, off this mark of 84, and that should have brought him on. It should have made him that little bit sharper. But he's going to encounter much quicker ground than he's seen before. And of course, Goodwood is a tricky track. Not every horse can cope with the undulations. And of course, there's that camber. Most race courses, it's fairly flat or fairly level, sometimes uphill in the closing stages, like, say, Sandown or Beverley or Carlisle uphill. But at Goodwood, the track is like this. And a lot of horses, a bit like at Epsom, become unbalanced and just don't handle it very well. So we'll see what happens with Tafrige. Another one prominent in the betting is the Gosden's Bresson, who also won a Yarmouth 6 furlong novice stakes. That was last August, on good to firm ground. So the ground in his case shouldn't be a big issue. He ended last term running respectably on heavy ground when fifth in a Doncaster listed race. He's been off for over 7 months, so his fitness has to be taken on trust. And I think the market will guide as to stable expectations for Bresson. Richard Hannon's Dark 30, who's got James Doyle on board today, was a really brave winner at York last week on good ground, stuck to his guns very, very well from the front, and just held on from a fast finisher of Kevin Ryan's. Has gone up just £3 for that, which looks fair, but he did appear to have quite a hard race. This, of course, is also a very different track to the flat, galloping expanses of the Knavesmire at York. So Dark 30 with a chance if he can adapt to conditions. Paul and Oliver Cole have Yakolev, who ran a couple of good races at this track last year, so I'm not worried about the course for him. He was third of 18 in a maiden at the Glorious meeting last summer, and then he won a 6 furlong good to soft novice stakes at the October meeting. He also won 3 weeks ago at Newmarket, so comes here in good form. He's gone up £6 for that. His win was on soft ground. Again, a slight question mark for him, the quicker ground. So if it's not the ground, it's the course with some of these. And there aren't many horses that tick plenty of boxes. Of the rest, well, Seeking Gold for Tom Clover. He won a Yarmouth 7 furlong good to firm novice stakes last August, and then was fourth at Haydock in a listed race won by Naval Power, which is good form. He was out of his depth after that in a Group 2 at Chantilly at the end of the season when the soft ground might not have suited. He's also first time in a handicap. He's got 90, which may not be a bad mark, but he has been off 8 months, so has fitness to prove. And the Johnstons have won this race twice in the last 7 years. Now Charlie Johnston with the licence from his dad Mark. Urban Sprawl is their runner, placed both starts this term. Amazing how many of the Johnstons runners go really well at Goodwood. He is no forlorn hope at decent odds. But my choice, first choice on Saturday, is Prairie Falcon. Prairie Falcon for Michael Dodds, who trains up in the northeast, and Hayley Turner, who's having a pretty good season, is booked for Prairie Falcon. Now, he's got a few things going for him as Prairie Falcon. First of all, it's a previous course and distance winner, winning a nursery at the glorious Goodwood meeting last season, and that was on good to firm ground. So we know it'll handle the ground and the course. It won there off 74 and then won a 6 furlong nursery at another big meeting, the Ayr Gold Cup fixture at Ayr in September, the Western meeting. That was in soft. So really versatile performer, and ran well when 9th of 27 in a pretty hot sales race at Newmarket in October. It's had 2 runs this term, so should be fit enough. The first run was really promising. It was a solid 4th on soft ground on its reappearance at Pontefract in April over the very stiff 6 furlongs there. And then last time out, ran at Musselburgh. They stepped him up to a mile and it didn't work. Didn't quite get home over the mile, having run well for quite a little way. Just could only keep on at the 1 pace in the race in which Urban Sprawl finished second. Prairie Falcon's £2 better off with Urban Sprawl, but it's the drop back to the 7 furlong trip and the much quicker ground that, for me, make it likely that Prairie Falcon will not only turn around the form with Urban Sprawl, but will also prove to be right there in the firing line when it matters. So previous course and distance winner, Hayley Turner doesn't ride many for Michael Dodds. She's ridden 1 winner for him from just 6 rides, and that one was at a good price. So she shows an overall £11 profit to level stakes when riding for Michael Dodds. And at the time of this recording, Friday mid-morning, 12 to 1 each way is offered. And the best offer is the 5 places with Sky Bet. So 12 to 1 each way for 5 places, Prairie Falcon. Many other firms going 12 to 1 each way, 4 places. So that is my first of 2 choices for Saturday. Just before I come to the second one, I want to remind you that, of course, I have my premium tipping service at Patreon. It's called Out in Front. We've been going pretty well of late after a quiet start, it has to be said, through the first few months, but things are starting to tick along nicely. And of course, we're looking forward to June when I'll be offering my extensive selections for the Derby meeting at Epsom, and of course for Royal Ascot, where I'll be tipping every day, quite a few selections. It's only £25 plus VAT to join. There's no tie-in clauses, so you can leave if you feel the service isn't quite right for you, but it's definitely worth a shout at £25 for a month, all in for all my tips. That includes the weekend action, the big festivals, and also I've been offering tips here and there as well through the week when horses are of some interest. I'd also point out that last Royal Ascot was a nice profitable meeting for us, and I'm hoping it's going to be much the same again. I will be offering 1, possibly 2 selections a day at Royal Ascot here, but the bulk of my selections will be at Out in Front, as they will be for Epsom and other big meetings. You can check out the link to see what it's all about just below this screen in the description. I'm going to move on now with my second free choice for you for Saturday, and this one is at York in the 3:15. Now, it's the Group 3 race. The William Hill Bronte Cup is a fillies stakes, 9 runners, and it's good to firm ground. And like at Goodwood, the sun is set for North Yorkshire, and we saw at the last meeting at the Dante fixture, the ground was pretty quick. And I think this will be proper quick ground at York, and this might find out quite a few runners during the day. Now, the one thing you can say with absolute certainty is that the form book is unequivocal in that John Gosden's Mimikyu has an absolutely outstanding chance on the figures. Mimikyu should be very hard to beat and is around the 11 to 10 favourite in this race. Very progressive filly last term. She won on soft ground at Haydock in a novice race. Then she won a 1.5 Newmarket handicap on good. But she really hit the heights when she won the Park Hill Stakes at the Doncaster St Leger meeting over 1.75 miles on good to soft ground. She probably had enough for the season when she disappointed in the fillies and mares Group 1 at Champions Day at Ascot. Now, she's been off for 7.5 months, so she has fitness, of course, to answer any questions there. Her best form is undoubtedly on good or softer, and Gosden's have been very, very keen to avoid quick ground for her throughout her career. So because of that, there's a little question mark in my mind, even though she's rated a long way clear of her rivals. Now, the other point that for me is a slight red flag here is that her only bad run in her career came at York when she was 7th of 11 in a listed race over 1.5 miles at the Ebor fixture. Now, even though it's a flat galloping track, it's funny how many horses fail to really produce their best at York, and it just may be that Mimikyu doesn't particularly enjoy the track. It might be, of course, that she just had an off day, as can happen to anybody or anything. So because there is a question mark about the course and about the ground, and also about the fitness, when, of course, they'll be looking surely to having her at a peak for Royal Ascot and other big meetings going into the summer run, even though she's £15 clear of her rivals, and she only concedes £5 all around, I think she's worth taking on. I think anybody that bets short price Mimikyu is taking a proper chance, really. Of the rest, well, River of Stars represents Rafe Beckett, 9-2 second favourite this one, rated 97, that is £15 inferior to the favourite. A winner at Chester over this trip of a listed race on good ground in August, but only beat 3 rivals in what appears to have been a very modest renewal of that listed race, and the form has been let down since. She was 5th when behind Mimikyu at Doncaster in the Group 2 Park Hill, beaten 12.5 lengths. She's another one coming back from a long break, 9 months this time, and another one never to have run on good to firm ground. She may well love it for all we know. But do you want to pay to find out? That's the question I put to you. William Haggis, always to be feared. Of course, he's got C Flawless, who's the 6-1 third favourite, won a Beverley 1.25 mile novice race last month. The second horse has been well beaten since, only rated 87. The trip and the ground are both new for C Flawless. It could improve for them, but then again, it might not. Maybe they're just trying to nip a bit of black type, trying to finish second or third, and increase this filly's paddock value when she retires to stud. So again, question marks there. Harry Eustace has done really well since taking over the licence from his dad, James. He's got Aloe Roos, who used to be trained in Ireland by the veteran handler Kevin Prendergast, was a sort of medium-level filly, never really delivering what she promised. She was very well backed, though, first time out for her new yard and first run in Britain at Goodwood in a listed race. Only sent off 7-2 there in a 1.5 mile contest on good to soft ground, but could only finish 7th. May have needed it. She's going up to her longest trip so far, and the ground is new for her as well. So here we have the front horses in the betting, all with question marks about the ground, and a few of them with question marks about the trip, and some of them with question marks about the course. Now, because of all that, I'm always looking for value, and I think there is value here in a horse called Wiki Wheels, who's trained by Jim Goldie in Scotland and is the mount of Paul Rennan. Now, both Jim and Paul are having a really good time of things at the moment. I think she can go very well at a good price. Goldie is tremendous at improving horses through the handicap ranks that we've seen time and again with the likes of Yukon Glen and others. And Wiki Wheels was tremendously progressive last season. She won 5 handicaps, all of them at Hamilton, improving from a mark of 62 up to 86, so improving £24 in her winning races. She also finished 3rd at Goodwood, a very different track, over 1 mile and 6 furlongs off 91 at the end of the season. She's also won twice on fast ground, so the ground is no problem, the trip is no issue, and she was tremendously progressive last season. Question is she going to progress again and be competitive at a higher level this year? Well, she left Jim Goldie's to join a trainer out in the Gulf during the winter. And she actually did very well. She made a winning start, scoring at Abu Dhabi over 1 mile and 3 furlongs, beating a horse that was rated 16 pounds superior off unfavourable terms. She was only getting £5, so she ran 11 pounds above her mark there. And then she ran very creditably without hitting the frame in 3 further runs, all at Maidan in Dubai against really good horses. She came back and returned to Jim Goldie's yard in Scotland, had a 50-day break. But as I'm sure you've seen with a lot of the Godolphin horses and others that go out to the Gulf, often they take a few runs to reacclimatise, having been in the warm weather during the winter, then coming back to the cold spring in Britain. And this to me seems to have been the case for Wiki Wheels. 2 moderate runs since she came back. And then last time out, on the 3rd run back, she ran really well. Suddenly, she seemed to have found her old form, staying on really strongly at Hamilton over 1.5 miles off a mark of 97. She was only beaten a length and a quarter in a tight finish, a blanket finish, and she was coming home strongly, and she was hitting the line best. And with the extra 2 furlongs to travel here, I think it will suit her. So the trip's fine. The ground is fine. She's fit and well, and she's running into form. And both the stable and the jockey are also doing really well at the moment. And because of that, I think she's a sporting each-way chance to bustle up this hot favourite Mimikyu. And at 16 to 1 each way for 3 places, Wiki Wheels is my second choice at York on Saturday, to go with the other one over at Goodwood in the 205, which was Prairie Falcon at 12 to 1. So 2 nice price each way selections there. Remember, I've got plenty more selections to come, at least 4 for Saturday at Out in Front, and I'll also have tips for Sunday there as well. So if you want to check out joining that service, check out the link just below this screen. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, here at Sportsbet, have a great weekend and the best of luck. Bye-bye for now.